Have you heard of Don't Look Up?
I did watch Don't Look Up.
Okay, interesting. So, I have some thoughts on Don't
I
Look Up.
also have a couple thoughts. I actually watched this 2 weeks ago. Pretty much, like, I forget when exactly, and I thought about bringing it up, and I was like, nah. But now that you've watched it, I'm
Yeah.
glad to talk about it.
Okay. Interesting that because I'm very down to talk about this because here's what I think is interesting about this. It doesn't the quality of the movie is irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything of note or substance to say about the quality of the film because that's not at all what is interesting or worth talking about to me. If you are interested in watching Don't Look Up, we're gonna probably spoil some of that right now talking about it. But it doesn't have to be a super long spoiler cast because I promise you the content of it, the quality of the content is not what it's not what's about to be discussed here, at least for me. It's just a simple thing. It's the movie. If you have any slight ounce of climate anxiety about the world in you, this shit cuts so fucking deep and real in a way that is like it's a simple thing. The premise of the movie is there is a discovery that a comet is going to hit the planet Earth in about 6 months time, and that's the premise of the movie, and how the planet reacts to that. And the way it gets processed after going through the last 2 years, watching how something like that gets handled in a really depressingly believable, stupid manner is kind of soul annihilating, is how I felt about it. I was like, oh my God, it really might go that bad based on the way looking around, looking at the conversations that I'm seeing, the conversations I have to have with family and friends, the way the news has gotten filtered over all of this shit. It's like, if you have any part of you that is like, yeah, climate change is a thing and it's probably bad that there's not enough being done about it, then you look at the way this movie delivers this message and you kind of are like, my God, it really would be that dumb. That's how I felt.
I'm really torn on it. The number one thing that I couldn't stop thinking the whole time I was watching the movie was, boy, somebody sure wants to tell me something. Like almost Kojima-esque levels of, hey, there's a message here. Do you hear it? And that to me was like, that would have been fine if the movie was a little more serious. I probably thought it would have been way funnier with less humor. In particular, Jonah Hill's character,
who
ruins every scene that he's in.
I disagree.
Because he's a cartoon in what is supposed to be like satire, but he's too much.
So
he's
I think
way too much.
I think the so both I was looking at this afterwards and I saw like both Leonardo DiCaprio and the director, who was he's a comedy director, like he's the director of Step Brothers, I believe. So that's been the genre of film that has been his thing for a while, but like they both basically said, yeah, there's no subtext here. This is a direct, clear thing we're saying, and there is a climate change message to this movie. It's not supposed to be subtle because the feeling that we have about this topic should not be subtle, right? The idea is that we're not going for subtlety because it's not about subtlety right now. That's the point of this, is that it's an urgent thing, You know?
See, I get that, but at the same time, the movie wants to be kind of dry, but it's not. Like I want more to one end of the spectrum. I didn't think it hit its balance very well at all. I
Okay.
thought it should have been much drier, or it should have been less dry. I guess I don't want to say the movie wants to be wetter, but
I like I said, to me, it all of it felt like less important than the takeaway as to how like media and government and leadership processes shit that endangers everyday people, like the rest of the population, essentially. Like just the depiction of how that gets processed was so like, oh my god, it's really that bad that I almost didn't. You know what I mean? Like it's because it's basically like there's a comparison to between this and the movie Idiocracy, which
yes,
is at first
much better.
Well, at first here's the thing about it, but it's important to make, there's an important distinction between the two, right? Because they're both about a bleak future in which like stupidity fucking rules the day, and oh god, the horrors that come when that becomes the only way forward. But the difference between the two, and what's important, I think, is that like Idiocracy was about how stupid the entire human race becomes, right? And how completely fucking hopeless that is. Versus, in this case, it's not the people, it's the leadership and the media. You know, it's the government in particular. It's the way like fuck all is being done about urgent things.
Okay, I think you're I think you're misunderstanding my issue with the film. My issue with the film is that every single fucking second of the movie, I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
That was kind of funny. Yeah, I get it." It wasn't interesting enough to other than, "Oh man, shit's really bad, huh?" And I think this was probably, I mean, it couldn't have been written post-COVID, right?
No,
Like this had to have been pre-COVID. It's about
for my
global warming.
I believe I believe it was written beforehand, and then COVID hit, and then like it became even more of a thing.
So like clearly they get it.
Yeah, I think
I'm like, it's just like, yeah, it's bad. Like, how do I put this? It's not a funhouse mirror to the real world. It's a kind of cracked mirror. I want a funhouse mirror or a regular mirror. Having it just be slightly off and kind of jokey, and me going, yeah, no, it's that bad. And I think me and Paige, I think it was Paige who said this, but we think that the funniest joke in the whole movie was Leonardo DiCaprio dating somebody his own age.
Yes, that was a tweet. Yeah. That was a tweet online. That was funny. The part of that funhouse mirror, though, and this is the thing, I guess, is that at least with my takeaway on it is that like the part where you're looking at a situation where the disinformation campaign on something so like obvious and bad becomes like it's so dumb in real life watching it happen that like the level of extremity that it goes to in this funhouse mirror that you're describing is one where you're like, oh my god, I can see exactly how there would be a fucking Twitter campaign and a hashtag and a full-on like, no, don't worry about it, it's all fine. Like that part of reality where I'm like, it really is getting that absurd in real life.
Yes, no, Wooly, the thing
and you're saying
the movie, you're doing to me right now. Yeah, right. I get it.
Right. So then I don't know. I guess I'm like, maybe not everyone gets it. I did mention it when I streamed last week, and someone went like, "Oh, I didn't see any climate change message here at all. I thought it was all about COVID and the COVID response, and I was like, okay, well,
I mean, why not? They're both. I mean, sure.
And I think it's
Sure.
both. I think it's both. But
but like me watching a movie that just reinforces the things I already believe in a depressing view of the world does not make me an enjoyable movie experience.
No, that's what I'm not saying it's an enjoyable experience at all. It definitely will not. It's like, a fucking.
I want Mel Brooks to do this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or I want like Kojima or like fucking Louis Theroux or something. Like it's sitting in this middle part where it's just super preachy, and I'm part of the choir that
you're part of the choir.
To,
yeah,
so I'm fucking bored. And people that aren't part of the choir that it's preaching to, it comes off like the most sanctimonious fucking shit in the world. That's not going to reach a single person. You think somebody who doesn't think climate change is real is going to look up into the sky and go, but what if there was a meteor?
Yeah, and that probably explains why it's doing so poorly on like Rotten Tomatoes and shit, because like it absolutely did not land with people in terms of that quality, and that's why I'm just like, I guess if you're part of the choir, then you're already like, I get it the whole time. To me, I'm like, this is. To me, I was just like, I could see this getting this dumb if the threats that like exist were faster moving and they weren't over the course of decades, but were over the course of, a much shorter period of time. And the absurdity of like the whole thing being a ridiculous like comedy movie or whatever, like the parts where you're like, oh my god, but the absurdity is so mirrored to things that have happened, to me was more of a like, this is horrifying and like hurts inside to see that parallel.
I kind of disagree that like, I don't know, like it's a comedy in that there's a couple characters that are funny, and like the funniest joke in the movie is the fucking joke about the snacks. And that's within like the first 20 minutes, and it never gets better than that. Yeah. Also, I think we can all very much agree that movie did not need to be 2.5 hours long.
It could have gotten to the point with a less.
That's like
But all of that, I don't know. All right, well, I'm not good at breaking things down any further than I think I already have. All I got on it is just like that one feeling, like that one take.
Hey, Paige. Paige is in the chat to tell us it was so fucking long.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
That one feeling I took from it was enough for me to be like, yeah, I am like ignoring the rest. That one takeaway of like, this feels bad, is what stuck with me, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. But again, I do believe that what you're describing is why it's being received so poorly. For sure.
I feel that the people that really love this movie are the people that the movie tells is smarter than the people that don't like this movie. And they might be, but I think that the actual film is really long and poorly edited and kind of boring. And that it's also like, how do I put this? It is a movie that is violently for United States citizens.
Mm-hmm.
It is not for people elsewhere. To the point where there's a point in the movie where they describe Russia, India, and China doing their own space thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what about the Canadian and European space agencies and the Japanese space agencies? Oh, did the writer not remember that those agencies existed? Probably not.
I definitely. I mean, the fact that you're following like the first or rather the second scene is like in the White House. It's like, yeah, that tells you immediately this is specifically an American point of view, and it's talking about the American messaging of like that whole crisis, so to speak, right? It is absolutely hyper centralized to that American lens. But yeah, no, that's it. I I just felt particularly soul crushed. Again, especially after having the family and friend conversations I've had over the last 2 years, that it just fucking it burned inside in a way that I was like, oh my god, I've seen people behaving this dumb, and yeah, whatever. I'm repeating myself. I got nothing else to add to it. So